Hi, welcome to Movie Review Mom. I'm the mom and I review the movies. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me. I hope that you like what you see and that you'll stay, and even better, that you'll subscribe and leave a comment and like my channel. Thanks, I really appreciate it. All right, the movie that I'm reviewing today is called Shadow in the Cloud. This movie is currently available in select theaters and for rent or purchase on Fandango Now, Google Play, and iTunes. It may open up to other platforms. We'll see. So first, let me give you the scoop on the movie. It is rated R. It's an hour and 23 minutes. And the movie review mom grade I'm giving it is a C minus. I always feel so badly giving movies bad scores, but let me tell you why. In a nutshell, this is a very quirky movie that is part horror, action, fantasy, and war. And yes, of course, it's another movie about female empowerment because that's what all movies are about these days, right? Some critics are describing this movie as pulp ridiculousness, yet still a fun ride. They're right. If you're looking for realism, absolutely skip this movie. If you want mindless nonsense to distract you from COVID and are willing to suspend your disbelief, well, here you go. You actually will have a blast if you're able to just relax and enjoy the ridiculousness of this movie. So let me give you some tips for parents. There is tons of profanity and tons of F-bombs. But beyond that language, there is super crude, sexist language and conversations. And because of that, I would not recommend it for children at all. You also see a close-up of a baby nursing on a woman's breast. So there's that. Now, some themes that are illustrated in the movie are anti-sexism. That's the theme because it shows the opposite, very sexist behavior. Tenacity, persistence, infidelity, being proactive, and even motherhood, believe it or not. Now, I don't want to give any spoilers, but here are some of the things that I actually really liked about the movie. First of all, I've always been a fan of Chloe Grace Moretz. There's just something about her that I really like and find charming. And she does a really great job in this crazy film and is perfectly suited for the role because of her physicality from her former movies and her just natural appeal. I think she looks great and gives a really fierce performance. The majority of acts 1 and 2 feature only Chloe in a small belly gunner of an airplane while she communicates with the rest of the crew over an intercom system. So it's like a one-woman show, really, for the majority of the movie. And I think that that's actually really difficult to pull off, and she does it really well. I wondered if the entire movie was going to be like that, but Act 3 really opens up and changes really in tone and what happens. I really liked the cartoon announcement opener in the beginning of the movie because it really gives you a sense of watching the movies during World War II in America. The movie is delightfully unpredictable, and it's impressive how anyone can make a movie in such tight spaces. That impressed me. The airplane that the crew fly on is appropriately named the Fool's Errand. So just keep that in mind. Keep also watching during the rolling credits at the end of the movie to see real footage of female pilots during the war and in later decades. During World War II, the Women Air Force Service Pilots, and believe it or not, the acronym is WASP, was created by the Air Force, providing female pilots to fly fighter planes, bombers, spotters, and non-combat transporters. And of course, as you can imagine, the men back then just said, women can't fly these planes, but the women proved them wrong. Now, there are several times where Chloe Grace Moretz does things, and I really got a kick out of seeing the expressions on the men's faces as she did them. One in particular was towards the end of the movie, and it was just crazy. The men just were watching, and then afterwards they kind of looked at her almost as if they were frightened by her because she is just hardcore. And it just made me laugh out loud. There are a lot of World War II films that use color grading that is desaturated to kind of make it look like an older film. And this one does too, giving it that same look of being maybe filmed during World War II. And I really liked that. The film does a great job building tension until it just becomes laughable. Fun fact, there is a real Maude Garrett. That's the name of Chloe Grace Moretz's character. She's in the entertainment industry, but the movie's not based on her at all. Her name was used because the writers thought that it sounded old-fashioned or a name that would have been common back during World War II. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. Now, there were some things I didn't like, obviously, to give it such a low score. First of all, there is so much screaming, most of it done by Chloe Grace Moretz, that you're just going to laugh, which I did. Chloe's British accent is just not very good, and I was rolling my eyes until it actually becomes a plot point, and then it made sense, and I was like, okay, I'll buy that. The music is super annoying at one part of the movie, which completely distracted me from what was happening on the screen and pulled me out of the movie. And that's never good when music does that to you. And then the crude dialogue and language are just extreme and offensive and exhausting, honestly. I just don't enjoy being assaulted like that during movies. The special effects also are not great, and you can actually see moments when green screens have been used in certain scenes. There are quite a few over the top scenes that are just laughable. And in fact, I can see this movie playing in your house, maybe in the background. I was going to say during a party, but a lot of people aren't doing parties yet because of COVID. But I could see this being a fun party movie to play in a house where people are wandering around and goofing off and then just looking at the screen and laughing and, getting a kick out of it together, or just being completely drunk and thinking it's a great movie. The plot is just absurd. The reveal of what's in the top secret box that Chloe's character is viciously protecting is kind of a letdown. I thought it was disappointing and kind of ridiculous, actually. The movie completely disregards the law of physics. So, if that bothers you, then don't watch this movie. I think generally more people are going to be laughing at the movie than with the movie. I'm not sure if the movie was designed to be laughable. Max Landis was completely distanced from the film due to the sexual harassment allegations made against him. The screenplay that he originally wrote was heavily rewritten by the director, Roseanne Leong. So maybe that has something to do with how the movie ended up. I don't know. Now, there is an interesting line that I wrote down. I usually write down all the funny lines and the interesting lines, but so many of them were just filled with profanity or crudeness that I only could write down one, and that is spoken by Maude Garrett, who's played by Chloe Grace Moretz, and she says, "You have no idea how far I'll go." Dun, dun, dun. And I won't tell you what that means. Now, before we go, I wanted to give you a couple of recommendations for movies that I think you'll like if you liked this one. The first one is called Overlord. Now, I actually have never seen it, but I heard other reviewers saying it's very similar in tone. And at the time, I intentionally didn't watch it because it was just something I didn't think that I was going to like at all. But I hear that the two are similar in tone and content. So you can check that one out if you think this one's awesome. And then another one is with Chloe Grace Moretz. And I think it was actually the first movie that I ever saw her in, and I thought she was really good. Of course, she's been in many others, but those are just a couple of them for you. All right, that's it for my review. I hope that you subscribe and come back for the next one. And in fact, if you ring that little bell or click on it, that will notify you every time I upload a new video so that you don't miss a thing. Now, Here's a good New Year's resolution for you. Get in the habit of watching my reviews before you choose a movie. That way you won't be caught unaware as to the content or the quality of the movie. All right, I will catch you in the next review. Until then, bye for now.